Good morning, my friends. It is time for the Morning Mindset once again, and it's time for us to get our minds right for the day. And by getting our minds right, I mean it is time for us to think about life according to the truth of God, not according to our feelings, not according to what we've been taught as children growing up, but according to what God says is the truth about this world and about us in this world. This morning, I wanted to ask you to do something that's a little uncharacteristic for this podcast. I want you to stop for a moment and think about the worst decisions you've made, the very worst sins you have committed in the history of your life. And I know that's kind of a bummer way to begin a day, but there is method to my madness here. Now, as you pause and get those situations and those actions that you've committed in your mind, my guess is it's not very hard to do because they are the things that tend to weigh on us. They're the things that tend to come back again and again and again in our lives. Maybe it's a feeling of condemnation over something you did. Maybe it's a sense of guilt over someone you betrayed or some kind of petty thing that you did. I don't know what it is for you, but we all have these things that we regret that we wish we had done differently. Now, as you have that in your mind, I want you to let the weight of it kind of hang on you for a moment. I want you to recognize the significance of that act that you did against God or against some other person. And here's where I'm going with this. I want you to recognize that the truth of the Scripture says that that sin or that action, no matter what it is entirely gone. And God entirely accepts you right now if you are a believer in Jesus Christ. Now let the weight of that settle on you for a moment. So what that means is that every feeling you have that is a guilty feeling or a condemning feeling or a sense that you are not quite measured up to God's standard because of that thing that you did and all the other little things that have happened since is untrue. The reality is that God entirely accepts you. And I want to give you the proof for that this morning. We've been reading in Romans chapter 8, and Romans chapter 8, verses 3 and 4 says, God sent his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh and for sin. And he condemned sin in the flesh in order that the righteous requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. Now you understand what that is saying. That's saying when Jesus came to this earth and made it his mission to die on the cross, he died there to pay the price for your sin. Now we hear that phrase in the church a lot. What does it really mean? It means he died to receive in himself the punishment that was due to you and me because of our sin. That sin that you thought of here at the beginning of this Morning Mindset episode. That one, that big one, and every other one that you've committed throughout the course of your life. Jesus took the punishment for that upon himself. That's part of why the cross's punishment was such a hideous, gruesome thing. If you've ever seen the movie, The Passion of the Christ, you get a flavor for what it was like for him to be tortured because of the sin that he was bearing. Now, I want that knowledge to set you free this morning from guilt. I want it to set you free from the things that hold you back because you have been set free. That is a fact. The righteous requirements of the law can now be fulfilled in you if you're willing to walk according to the Spirit. And that's what we're going to get into in the next episode. But for now, recognize this. God entirely accepts you if you have placed your faith in Jesus Christ. He entirely accepts you because he entirely accepts the sacrifice Jesus made on your behalf. My friend, rejoice in that this morning. Rejoice because you are entirely accepted by God.